Welcome back to Mind Trick Media. Today we are back with Ryan in part 4 of our series. We're going back to 1977 today, and we're going to go over The New Hope.
I can't believe you rolled with that intro.
I mean, I thought it was pretty cool.
Coming back to 1977.
So I even thought this as soon as we turned it on. I was like, it sounds old.
Yeah,
Like
the
the
big
music-
band,
that mean?
the big band at like with the 20th Century Fox thing. It is like all just like
It sounded... You could definitely tell by the movie, like, we definitely went back in time. Like, after just rewatching the prequels, like, going back, it was like, damn, like, you can definitely tell that this movie was made a lot earlier than the other ones, just by the music. But,
Totally not what it looks like either, though.
yeah, I mean, and that was something that Heave just said immediately. Like, you didn't think, like, going back to 1977 that it looked as bad as you thought it was going to.
no. I mean, I thought it was gonna look like. What I said to him was that I thought it was gonna look like you were playing like an old system on a big ass flat screen TV, and it was like this big and pixelated as shit. So, I mean, what was the ship that comes in first? That's just a destroyer, right? That's what those are called.
Star Destroyer?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
one that captures
Princess Leia's ship.
right. I was like, that came onto the screen. I was like, oh, okay, that's not really bad at all. I mean, it was like, it almost shocked me to a point.
I was thinking about it a little bit. I was like, I wonder if they altered it in any way, putting it on Disney Plus.
They 100%.
I don't think they-
altered them.
I don't think so.
I think they've cleaned a bunch of them up.
I don't think so. When I was
They
watching
changed the 6th movie, so
the
I
sixth,
know they've altered
the sixth
it.
movie they did change, and I was telling him that watching that movie last night. I don't think they really changed really anything. I legitimately felt like I was watching it on VHS back at Grandma's house. Like I legitimately felt like it was like real, like how we watched it way back when.
I felt like it was real.
I mean, yeah, like,
Spaceships shooting each other in space.
but no, like I don't think they altered the 4th movie at all. At least it didn't look like it when I was watching it. I was like, actually, you know what? I'm glad they actually seem to have kept it.
It
somewhat
probably
normal.
has better quality. They probably had to do something to make the quality look better.
Well,
I
They
mean-
probably didn't actually change the movie, but they definitely had to like do some stuff to it.
I don't know if they did. I was watching it and I'm like, I think it looks about right.
Well, I mean, we talked about how they put like episode 4 in the title screen because I was
Later.
like,
yeah, that happened
So I was
like a long time.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense, but I feel like why wouldn't if they're gonna go and change something? I feel like they kind of would have wanted to make it better looking at the same time. A
Well,
little
so
bit.
when they changed, so like that first movie came out obviously, and it was just like a Star Wars story, whatever. The 5th one came out, and the 6th one came out, and then in the 90s they made like a collection edition where you could buy all 3 of them, and they were all updated a little bit, and that might have been when they updated it to episode 4, 5, and 6, but I know when they made one in the mid to later 1990s, I know they made it because they did like did you tell them about the scene they changed?
In the 6th movie?
No, in the 4th. So
Which scene?
Han Solo in Mos Eisley Cantina.
They changed that scene?
Yeah. So we'll get to that because I mean this is one of the things I knew I wanted to talk about. So
I mean, okay.
in the scene in the Mos Eisley Cantina, you meet Han Solo and you meet Greedo. Well, kind of. In that scene, what happens? Either you can answer.
That's when they meet at the bar, right?
Well, that's when it's right after Luke and Obi-Wan leave to go sell
We
the
skipped a little
speeder.
bit, I'm sorry.
We skipped a lot, but I mean, it's when they go try to sell the speeder, and Greedo comes and tries to like basically kidnap Han Solo because
Okay.
he owes money to Jabba.
Right. Okay.
And what happens?
He kills him.
Okay, but like, how does that interaction happen?
How does it happen?
Yeah, so like the interaction's going on, and like obviously he gets shot, but they both shoot, right?
I honestly didn't know if the other guy shot Han Solo at all.
Okay. You?
Is that what they changed?
So they did change it. So, when Greedo shot first, and he shot above Han Solo's head. He missed.
Okay.
It was, and a little bit too because Han Solo also shot him at the same time. In the original movie, Greedo like never shoots. In the original one, Han Solo shoots him immediately. So they ended up changing it because they thought it was too like
It
a
was just
character you were
murder.
supposed to like.
Right.
Like went out of his way to shoot someone first.
Actually,
I mean, he was
did-
at gunpoint, wasn't he? Like,
I mean, he was holding a fucking blaster to him.
Right.
Like, I mean, I don't remember that at all. I don't even know what you're talking about, actually.
The original one, Han Solo shot first. But ever since the 90s, that hasn't existed. They changed it in the 90s.
I don't remember that. Okay, I learned something new today.
Well,
good job, buddy.
I try my best, guys. No, the one guy at my job, we talk about it all the time. Because it's one of those things that, I mean, we've talked about this, have this legit conversation where,
Would that have made you think different of Han Solo? I mean, I thought it was like, okay, that's what I would have done if I was Han Solo.
I mean, he
But, I
literally
mean-
goes up to him, Greedo, with a pistol and's like, come sit down with me. You know what I mean? Like, I mean,
well,
I don't know.
Greedo does.
Right.
Right.
You're supposed to know the whole time that Greedo sucks. But, like, how are you, like, it's one of those things that, like, we live in a different age. But in the 70s and 80s, like, you're supposed to, like, meet this new character. And the first thing he does is pull out a pistol and shoot a guy. When the guy didn't shoot him or anything. Like, it's a little, you know.
I mean, he was threatening him the whole time. So, I mean,
Still,
I don't know. I don't think it would have
The
changed
implementation of him shooting him first, though, is a little like
I don't think
sneaky
it-
devious of him, especially the way he shot.
I mean, he is kind of sneaky and devious.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but
That wouldn't have changed my perspective of Han Solo at all. If that's what you want me to say, it wouldn't have changed my personal.
yeah, but I'm saying we also grew up in a different age.
I mean, I guess, but I mean, that wouldn't have changed my mind about anything. Especially with what you, I guess, like, I don't know, growing up watching the Clone Wars and stuff, people just kill. So, I mean, like, okay. I mean,
is a
maybe.
cartoon.
Maybe, so I don't know. But
Well, and I guess I was kind of like, there was like a whole little fight scene before that, so I wasn't even thinking of like, oh, well, this new character is just going to shoot someone. It's because Obi-Wan just cut some dude's arm off. So it's like, okay. Like, that was justified, I think. So I think Han Solo's was just as justified because he's either killed or be killed, honestly. So
I mean, there's always that thing with Han Solo where you're supposed to kind of like not like him
yeah, he's
In a
kind
way.
of, he kind of comes off as a
as a dick.
tool, yeah.
Let's go to old Harrison Ford.
oh, well, that's what he
Anyway,
hate.
we skipped a
Yeah.
shit ton. So, help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope. Were you confused by that? Obviously,
there-
you know who that is because
Right.
you've seen the first three.
Right. So,
I mean, if you want to pull out your phone, he took a heavy note right when that scene happened.
my phone. I think it's in your car. Anyway, my point was just like, okay,
Well, that's
so
a failure on your part.
right, so Obi-Wan took Luke to his aunt and uncle on Tatooine, but Leia went with, I can't remember his name, but the other
Bail.
guy.
Bail.
Right. So how did Leia know about Obi-Wan but didn't know about Luke at the same time if she knew about Obi-Wan?
So this honestly was like one of those things that I'm assuming a lot of Star Wars fans just question forever. I mean, I know when we were younger, we kind of questioned it, how she knows him. They've since made a project where they explain it, but a lot of people don't like it. So,
It's the Kenobi series, right?
yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so basically, like, it's kind of a good question. Everybody had that question. They don't really ever explain it.
And then there's also
movies.
dialogue in the movie that just like outside of her knowing who he is, that the Kenobi series also clears up. It's kind of like, or you see reactions like when, I guess we're kind of jumping a little bit, but when Obi-Wan dies, Leia doesn't have a reaction to it. And you're like sitting here and you're like, why doesn't she have a reaction? But she knows who he is. But she cared that he was there on the Death Star. But then when he dies, she doesn't care, or it doesn't seem like she doesn't care. And I think also the Kenobi series kind of shows why, because she had to grow up at a tremendously faster rate than I think Luke had to. Not even close, in my opinion. And I
made it
think
sound like she like actually grew more.
no, but I do think that Leia was a hell of a lot more mature in A New Hope than Luke was, and it wasn't even close.
The entire time.
Right. Well, yeah.
The whole
well, that's
thing.
what I'm saying.
She's more mature.
And that's why I think, like, okay, then you watch the Kenobi series and you're like, all right, I think it makes a lot of sense with what they do with Leia in the fourth movie.
I mean, she's a princess.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like the same thing with Anakin and fucking Natalie Portman. Padme, yeah. Like, she's
You're doing hot today.
like, I don't know, they both were the same level of maturity a lot quicker than the boy version, like, of Anakin and Luke.
I mean, yeah, she was a queen at 14.
Right.
I mean, Anakin, yeah.
All right.
What do you think of C-3PO just being a fucking prick to R2-D2 all the time?
I mean, I thought it was kind of funny. It's kind of like he's like the Jar Jar Binks of these movies, where he's just kind of stupid comedy.
Yeah.
Which one do you like better, C-3PO or Jar Jar Binks?
C-3PO for sure, 100% more. I was wondering why, like, not seriously, but I was like, why is C-3PO just letting R2-D2, like, he's just like abandoning R2-D2, and then just because the other robot blows up, he's like, oh, I guess we'll take R2-D2. So it's like, okay.
Don't you forget about this.
Right. Yeah. And
I
he
did
does
this
that
for
shit.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's low-key a dick to R2.
Yeah.
He's like that
Kinda
a lot.
always is.
Huh?
He kind of always is.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, R2, they explain that relationship in the first 3 movies. R2 does some fuck shit to C-3PO.
Yeah.
Like, pushing him onto a conveyor belt and making him half a fucking battle droid. Die, Republic dogs, die.
I just saw a meme for that right before we sat down.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, what else?
Are we going to go through the movie? I don't.
How do you want to do it?
We can just jump to I guess the first time we see Obi-Wan.
It's like instantly.
All right, Luke gets attacked by Tusken Raiders, a.k.a. Sand People. And we get the iconic line that we get from the prequels, but it's in the originals now where you're like, Obi-Wan's like, hello there. And like, I was just sitting there and I was like, it's coming. And he says it and I was like, oh, it's awesome. I love hearing it. Every time I hear it, I'm like, this is great. I just want to hear it again.
Who does it better, Alec Guinness or Ewan McGregor?
I think Ewan McGregor, because of the Kenobi series, where he is older and he kind of meshes the two voices together when he says it in the Kenobi series, where it's kind of sounds like Alec Guinness and kind of sounds like Ewan McGregor. I think he did. I would say Ewan McGregor is better, just because of that specifically. But if I had to pick from like the originals or the sequels, honestly, probably Alec Guinness, because I don't think Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan would say it, and it would mean anything without him saying it in the fourth movie. It would just be like, "Oh, hi, I'm here to kill you."
I still feel like Ewan McGregor's is more like notorious.
It definitely is, but I feel like that line just might not be there without Alec Guinness's line.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at with
Kind
it.
of
Where
like I
it's
have a
like,
bad feeling about this.
yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, and then also like, well, I guess we're jumping all over the place, but I thought it was interesting when he made a comment after the movie. He was like, damn, this is like what started it all. And it was like, well, it was cool. It was cool to see a reaction.
I don't think I said that.
I mean, you didn't say it like that, but
Yeah, this is like where Star Wars started. No
I
shit.
had to fucking spark off the blunt and I'm like, yeah, it's just crazy.
no, but you like had a moment where it's like, damn, like we actually just watched the first thing that made this huge ass universe, this huge ass fan base, this huge ass story that we now have.
Yeah, like 10 years after we went to actual space. I was like, that's kind of crazy.
Not 10 years, but close.
It was like a little more than 10 years.
Wasn't it 14?
We went in the
When
60s.
we go to the
69.
Oh,
Okay, so 8 years.
it's pretty close.
The movie wasn't filmed in 1977.
I guess.
But I mean, I thought it was cool. It was like, I wish I could go back and watch these movies for the first time again.
Well, it was kind of like,
I think that's what I was talking to someone about it, where like I think that's what makes this special, is that like you have it. It's weird. Like you're in like
Yeah, you're a fucking weirdo
not
for
an
not seeing
oddity.
it.
What is an anomaly?
Virgin?
That's what I'm. What? What the fuck? You're like an anomaly. It's like I haven't seen any of these. And it's like what?
Yeah.
Especially because you like were old enough. Like that's coming out. Like you could have seen the 1, 2, and 3.
I mean, yeah, it's just I don't know. I just wasn't a big movie person, and my mom was like sacrilegious, or not. She wasn't sacrilegious, but she was against sacrilegious. So it was like you couldn't watch those. So I was like, all right, whatever. Couldn't see Harry Potter. Couldn't see anything because.
Hey man, they have Christmas.
I just thought like, I kind of, like I like watching it how we watched it, where I watched 3, 4, 5, or 4, 5, 6. Jesus Christ, 4, 5, 6, and then no.
1, 2, 3.
They came out.
Right.
You watched the 4th, 5th, and 6th that came out,
Right.
and then you're going back to the first one.
But like I think it would have been like I don't know what that feels like to like have seen it in the 70s and then been like having questions for 30 years of my life of like,
dude, and that's what's like wild to me because
Yeah.
like I mean that's
I
the-
wouldn't have been able to live. That would have sucked ass to just be like,
Oh, wait for the
okay, all of
5th
these-
movie,
dude,
bud.
yeah, dude, and that one's crazy. But like at the same time, like I feel like that's how a lot of things are. I'm impatient when something comes out and they make the movie the next year.
Yeah, he's been bitching about Ahsoka season 2. He's like, I want it now. The story needs to finish. God damn it.
Because it was an unfinished story.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to wait till 2030 for the rest of the 4 projects to finish.
Yeah.
Who knows what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
Yeah, we might not even be alive.
We'll have a whole president. There'll be another president. The new one coming in, and then another one by the time we finish that.
By the
stuff.
time we get Heir to the Empire, the movie.
Dude, we'll be in World War VI. It'll be a
crazy.
galactic space war.
We'll be in Star Wars before they finish
I mean,
Star
Elon's
Wars.
catching freaking booster rockets, so I mean, who knows? Hyperspace is next.
That's gonna be crazy. I think that would be cool.
Hyperspace?
Yeah, it'd be
It's
cool as
impossible.
fuck. You don't know that.
Dude, you're basically going light speed, right? We can't even get close to light speed. You know, also, that's something like Star Wars defies so many rules of space. Like, it's nothing that they do in space makes any sense.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's fucking weird ass animals everywhere. There's
Well, aliens make sense to me.
They're human beings. Remember what Han Solo calls Jabba the Hutt a human being? They're all human
No.
beings.
What are you
He says in the
talking-
4th movie, he's like, you're a fantastic human being.
I was so
Calls him a
distracted.
human being
Yes.
or a fantastic being?
No, he says human being.
Well, okay, that's wrong.
Well, that's what he
It
says
might
in the
be
movie.
Fantastic being, I think.
I'm about
was so-
999%.
You're gonna have to
sure.
look because I don't know what you're talking
I
about.
was so distracted by how awful that scene looked with Jabba and Han Solo.
I'm gonna get you
when
your
he-
money.
When he steps over him, I was like, you saw him go like, huh, huh, and then down. And I was like, oh my god, that was really hard to watch.
Yeah. But they defy so much space though. It's kind of insane because like
No, he says, quote, Jabba, you're a wonderful human being.
I think it was sarcasm then.
Well, that's what he says. I mean, it's Han Solo, but like, yeah. I mean, it definitely is sarcastic as hell.
Everything is.
Especially with Han Solo.
Yeah.
You're cold.
I like how he didn't take shit from Leia though. He was like, I'm in this for fucking money. You're paying me for this.
I love this is not in the movie, but it's from the Family Guy fucking episode where he was like, I got my lightsaber cheese cutters or whatever it is. Dude, that was it's like they gave me a gift basket. I would have preferred actual money, but we jumped so much in this episode.
So we get to where Obi-Wan gives Luke his father's lightsaber.
We jumped the entire like
Meeting of them.
Princess Leia and Vader thing too.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll just jump around. Who gives a
So
fuck
does
about
so
chronological
so
order?
Vader doesn't know that Leia and Luke, or does he know that Leia and Luke are his children?
No.
Okay, because he was
Well,
like
he doesn't
he's
know
so,
he doesn't know that Luke exists. He knows that Leia exists, but doesn't know that it's his daughter.
Because he was like, he's so filled with hatred that he doesn't know, like, as Vader wouldn't know because he's just not. So I don't know if he did know and he blocked that out in his mind
At
because
this-
he hated it so much, or.
At this point, I think we need to think of Vader as not Anakin Skywalker at all anymore.
Okay.
He kind of is just, he's not Anakin Skywalker anymore.
I think he's kind of asking how does he not sense Padme
Well,
or
right, that's
himself
what-
in them.
Well, that's what I'm kind of trying to get to is that he doesn't sense himself in them because he's not himself anymore. He's not Anakin Skywalker anymore. He is Darth Vader now. There is no Anakin Skywalker. And you get to see in the next couple movies him kind of like waver. But yeah, I just think it's completely because he's so enraged in the dark side that he is just not Anakin Skywalker anymore. And even if he wanted to try, he wouldn't be able to see them as his kids. He's also just completely under the impression that Padme and they all died when she died. So, on top of all of that, so
They all, 2 babies and the mom.
Yeah.
They all died.
they all died.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just gonna jump to the scene with Alderaan because I don't know where we're at.
Okay, that's fine.
So he's like talking shit to Leia, and so like Tarkin's also there. Which, how do you feel about Tarkin?
Who's Tarkin?
The older guy that's kind of in charge of the Death Star.
Oh, like the guy who Vader.
Yeah, the old white guy.
Okay. It kind of confused me because I figured that Vader would be like the head of the ship, kind of like he wasn't really like I was like, oh, he's not like the captain of this thing, like I don't know, he's a dick.
Yeah, I remember as a kid like just seeing Tarkin and just not liking him.
Yeah.
Like, how are they showing something about this guy? And then like they do a good job with showing how like his life progressed in Star Wars because like they show him in the Clone Wars and they show him in like other TV shows and stuff.
So how did he go to the dark side?
So he was just one of those people that was in the Republic who was like with the Chancellor on everything and just
Okay.
is when it became an empire, he just became part of the empire.
Okay.
He believed in
He just sided
Palpatine.
with, right? Okay.
yeah. Yeah, he was a dick then though too.
Yeah, he was an
'Cause
asshole.
he worked with the Jedis and he fucking hates the Jedi. Because
The only Jedi he remotely liked was Anakin.
it was just because he did dirty shit.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's like Tarkin has always had that kind of like why couldn't I have this type of attitude towards him a little bit. So I don't know.
And also, like, I think the reason why, like, Vader's not, like, captain of the ship is, like, kind of like the Inquisitor thing. Like, it's to make him not have responsibilities.
Not
Where-
just that, he goes and where he wants as he pleases.
Right. I mean, that and just not to have the responsibility to be in charge of all these people. Like, I'm just going to do what I need to do when I need to do it.
And Palpatine or Sidious will get pissed if Vader just killed Tarkin, so he just kind of lets Tarkin do it.
Yeah, that's also another thing. Like, these guys would just piss Vader off, and Vader's just going to start killing people. So it's like,
Well, I mean, he force choked that one guy. He
Yeah.
was like, I was like, well, we were sitting there, and the guy was like talking shit just straight to Vader, and I was like, he's just gonna take that, and then all of a sudden he just like starts choking him, and I was like, oh, okay,
You see,
that
the
makes
guy's like-
fucking sense. I was like, personally, I wouldn't have taken that. You know what I mean? Dead.
yeah,
On the
dead.
spot.
Yeah, what's crazy is like, obviously these were made first, so it's like whatever. But we have like comics and stuff now where Vader did a lot worse shit, a lot worse shit to those fucking. Like he was kind of like they kind of fucking just everybody kind of just hated him.
You should surrender. You're surrounded. All I'm surrounded by is fear and dead people. That's a crazy ass comic. That's a crazy statement. There's hundreds of soldiers surrounding Vader, and he's like,
And he's
all
already
I-
fucked up. His
Yeah.
mask is cracked. His chest plate's cracked, and he's like
all I'm
surrounded by a bunch of dead men.
fear and dead men, and I'm like, that's crazy. What a badass.
I think there was. I don't remember what it's from, but it's like in my head where it's like, I don't know what he says, but someone's like, "I don't fear you." It's Ezra, isn't he? Isn't it?
Ezra says that.
Yeah, Ezra's like, "I don't fear you," and he's like, "You're one of the few," or
well,
something like that.
he says, "You will die braver than most."
Yeah, that's what he says. It's like, dude, you're talking to a kid.
This kid's like 10 years old, and he's like, "I don't fear you." And then they slam a fucking TIE fighter on him, and he just fucking forces that bitch up, and he's like, I'm shitting my pants and being
Ezra
like,
did that? Or
Ezra and his master both did it to Vader.
Dude, they threw a TIE fighter on Vader, and Vader...
Oh, I thought Vader threw it on the table.
No.
I was like, holy shit.
He almost killed him with his own lightsaber. He had the lightsaber, and he's just forcing the lightsaber to Ezra's neck. And I'm like, that's crazy in itself anyways. He has him like force pushed against the TIE fighter, I think. And then he's like about to kill him with his fucking own lightsaber. I'm like, that's nuts. But yeah, that'd have been nuts if that's how he killed Ezra. Fucking throw a TIE fighter at him. That'd be insane. Season 1, there's no more. He's dead.
Man. All right, where are we at?
I don't know,
I
everywhere.
mean, we did skip the whole part where Luke and Obi-Wan, like,
Hang out
start
and
the fucking movie.
I mean, that's what I was trying to get to.
So
But
much stuff. We skipped Brew and them. What happens to them? We skipped.
we haven't made it there yet. Because he meets Obi-Wan first. We
already talked about the cantina scene.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah. But we still skipped, like, the going to Obi-Wan's little, like, hut.
That's what I was getting ready to say. I'm like, we skipped that too.
Yeah.
But that's after that.
No, it's not. It's before it. Because he gets the lightsaber and stuff.
And then heads back.
Well, they find they start to head back anyways. And they find
They're just cooked.
the Jawa, like, truck thingy.
Dorotiti. Lutini.
Those things were fucking annoying.
I fucking
like-
love Jawas.
It was like listening to Minions fucking
Yo,
talking.
gato. Actually, kind of. Like, kind of a lot, actually.
We started, they're just, like, peeking around corners and stuff. I'm like, yeah, we're not watching Star Wars. We're watching The Hills Have Eyes, actually. All you see is their, like, yellow glowing eyes, and that's it.
They're cool. I like them.
I was like, it's creepy as fuck, but yeah.
But we get to see Obi-Wan. Well, we get to see Luke be like, "You fought in the Clone Wars?" 1977. What the fuck is the Clone Wars?
Yeah, dude.
Dude, that line is nuts to think about in 1977
With your
because
father.
you have zero context. It was completely zero.
Yeah,
I love that
feel like
meme.
Was that line changed?
I don't
Or was
know.
that in the original thing? Like, you fought in the Clone Wars? What the fuck is the Clone Wars?
Well, yeah, I like that meme where it's like, you don't know what we're talking about, but your kids are gonna love it. I love that shit when I see it. He's like, "What's the Clone Wars?"
Also, fun fact, I was probably going to explain this later on, but I'll just do it here. So, you know how he's like digging through that chest that he has and he pulls out Anakin's lightsaber? So, they actually talk about that in a comic later on when Luke goes back to Tatooine after episode 4 and stuff. Because it's actually after episode 5 as well. He goes back because he's looking for a lightsaber. He doesn't know. He thinks that Obi-Wan might have like papers and stuff because he knows that he has Jedi scripts and all kinds of other stuff. And so Luke was trying to get into the box, but the box is like, I'm not gonna say booby trapped, but like if you fuck up opening it, there's a self-destruct on it. So like he's like racing a clock to get it unlocked and shit. But I mean, obviously it's the Force, so it's like not that hard. But yeah, like he almost blows the HUD up, and he also does blow lightsabers up trying to build them. So
Does he just go and live where Obi-Wan lived?
I think he does for a little bit after episode 5. Not in technically not canon, but not in the movies. He does not go back.
Okay.
But yeah, how'd you feel about Luke igniting his lightsaber and looking like a fucking idiot? He just...
Well, it's funny. He was like, he's going to cut C-3PO's head off. And I was like, in the bloopers, whatever he has in his hand, he smacks C-3PO in the head with it. So I'm like, yeah, it did happen.
Do you know that that there's like an actual guy in C-3PO's costume and in R2's costume? Like those aren't like electronics. There's people in those.
They put a midget in fucking R2D2?
Cut?
Well, how
Yes.
tall was the person?
Yes.
That's fucking nuts.
They were a little person.
Okay, a little person. I'm sorry.
And then so there's actually a super cool pic. It's not like good, but it's like a funny pic of C-3PO because they're on break. You know he has that little piece for his mouth. When they're on break,
Probably it's like a cigarette.
dude, they shove a cigarette into it and light it for him. But yeah, that's a costume.
That is. I mean, I could see it for C-3PO, but not like.
I don't know how though. That dude had to sit there and walk like
Right.
this at all times.
How is he standing in the R2D2 fucking costume?
It's like a little like bowl.
I think R2 is probably bigger than you think he is as well.
He's a lot bigger than you think he is.
Oh, okay.
Like legitimately standing up, he's probably half your height.
Not even just that. Like he's
Well, he has
very
to be if there's an
round.
actual person in
Well,
there,
yeah,
right?
but I mean, he actually is like that big. He's pretty big.
Okay, understandable. That's crazy though.
Yeah.
I don't think you could pay me enough money, even if I was a little person, to fucking sit in an R2D2.
I don't know, man.
So he was sitting out there in the TIE fighter and shit, or whatever, the X-wings. He was like,
Yeah, in space.
yeah, that's cool.
They sent him in
Yeah, they were in
R2D2
space.
costume
Yeah.
to space.
He got his head shot off and shit. Stupid.
I don't know how that's gonna sound. Yeah, we jumped so much. Fuck. I would just jump to the Baru scene in Owen.
Yeah. So they find the Jawa truck that was like they're destroyed. The Jawas were everywhere on the ground, dead, and Luke realizes what.
It's such a crazy. They found the Jawas. They were just spread out, evenly dead.
Yeah, and Luke realizes that they probably found him. What did you think about when you saw the bodies, the way the bodies were?
Oh, like of his
Yeah.
aunt and uncle. Well, at first I was like, "Is that a body?" And then like they zoomed in on it a little, like they like cut back to Luke, and then they went back to the building. I was like, "Holy shit! That's just a skeleton that's on fire." Like it was like, I feel like you wouldn't see that today, but like back in the '70s, I was just like,
You want to know something super sad?
"That's a real person's bones."
Honestly, probably, but
They didn't have
They
fake
excavated someone's grave.
They didn't have it.
there's a famous movie. I don't know what it is, but there's a famous movie that involves like skeletons that are like, it's like some sort of pirate movie, I think, or something like that. They used real bodies because they were cheaper than buying fake, like actual aesthetically looking skeletons. I can't remember the movie. Someone will probably know, but what's fucked up about that scene is like, so you know how like there's like the hut and then it's like going up the stairs and they're like laying up on the steps.
Right.
That means that they lit them on fire in their house and they tried to escape.
Nice. Well, not really, but yeah. Good observation.
They also didn't just like light, like they use like the packs that have like flamethrower packs. So real fun.
Some World War II shit.
Imagine having nothing to do with anything that happened and just getting torched in your living room.
I mean, you're hiding a fugitive.
They didn't know that though.
They definitely knew that. They were hiding Obi-Wan, kinda, and they were hiding an asset that Obi-Wan brought to them.
Technically, yeah. I mean,
Technically, they were breaking the law.
they knew that Obi-Wan was there the whole time on Tatooine and stuff
Oh,
watching. So, like, technically,
okay.
yeah, they did do illegal stuff to the Empire. So,
I don't know if that's flamethrower to the back of your head when you're sitting.
Just trying to drink a glass of blue milk. All
I
of
mean,
a
that's-
sudden, the blue milk became hot chocolate.
I mean, that's just to show you how violent the Empire is. They don't give a fuck.
They don't give a fuck, dude.
They kill people that don't even betray them. Like, that's just how they are. Like, you'll see that in
You
other,
have something I want.
like you'll see it in other projects too, and even in the later movies. Like, they just fucking kill people to kill people, just cause.
That was like, for the time period that happened though, and how quickly it happened in that movie, it was kind of fucked.
Yeah.
It was like kind of fucked. Like,
Yeah.
you don't even know who they are really. You just know that like you get the impression that Owen's a dick, which we didn't talk about, but like there's definitely like in the Kenobi series, and then even in comics, like Owen does not like Obi-Wan because he doesn't believe. It's kind of they talk about this parallel that happens with Harry Potter and Star Wars. The guy Owen hated Jedi in a sense that like he just didn't believe in it.
Well, you also have part of that, and then you also have part of the aspect that you're like, you let my stepbrother fucking become a monster. You let my stepbrother, like,
and my step.
He blames Obi-Wan for that.
Obi-Wan blames himself for that for a long time.
Well, that's a different thing.
Fine, but not your fucking. It's his stepbrother.
I mean, yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah. He resents Obi-Wan because of it. He doesn't even allow him to talk to Luke when Luke's younger and stuff. Like, you'll see that in other projects too. Like,
also another thing that's funny is they talk about. I feel like they talk about it.
Talk about what?
In like the second movie or the third, they talk. Fucking Owen and Beru are talking about how Owen or someone's supposed to be painting.
I saw a meme.
They're supposed to finish painting the top of the fucking hut, and 15 years later, they still haven't done it. It's funny. People are like, a typical husband. Says they'll get a project done and don't.
Yeah.
I think we've talked about it already. Do you know what like they do on that farm? Like what they're farming?
Sand, right?
No.
Sand plant. They're farming sand.
I don't think they need to farm sand. You can go outside and be like...
I do remember... I remember having a conversation, but I don't remember what they farm.
I'm pretty sure they say it, don't they? They definitely do in the second movie.
I don't think they did. You'll see it in other projects too. They talk about it.
If you're on a sand planet, what thing do you think that people need? So like when they like typical farms grow. Actually, you got that pretty quick. It's a moisture farm.
Oh, nice.
So like I don't know if you know that.
And then they lit it on fire.
Yeah, they lit the people on fire. That gives water to the people.
Like, I don't know if you noticed or not, but like under sand is water. Like if you dig into like it's like if you dig in the ground deep enough, like you're gonna hit water at some point. That's what they're doing.
Okay.
So I feel like
water farmers.
I feel like a moisture farmer.
What did they mean with the harvest then? What is it, a rainy season or something like that? Like, because he's like, Luke, you can't go because I have the harvest coming.
They might have.
It could just be the best time of year to do it.
To dig in sand?
Yeah, maybe.
Well,
maybe it's maybe it's easier to do it, or there's more water at this point in the year or something. I don't know. Or maybe they just do it at a specific time every year.
I'm glad the one question you have is something that we don't have a fucking answer to.
That's what I'm here for.
I mean, it could be just like we do this at this time every year.
Right.
Just to have it build up to this point.
All right, where are we at?
I also told him that the blue milk comes from a bantha. Pointed that out when we watched the movie. He's like, they get milk from that thing? Yeah. Yeah, they do.
I mean, what old things do we get milk from?
A fucking cow. I didn't see no udders
Goats.
on them.
We get
Did
it
you
from
look at under a bantha? Was it a female bantha?
All right, so now we're at the bar scene where all this stuff happens to Greedo. They get to meet Han Solo and all that stuff. Then they go see the Millennium Falcon for the first time, and they're like, what a piece of junk.
This piece of junk? Hey.
She's got it where it counts, kid. I made some special modifications myself.
Which, all illegal, by the way. This ship is so fucking illegal. So is that regulated? Absolutely not.
It also doesn't have escape pods anymore.
Yeah, it's too much weight.
No, we saw it in the Solo. Well, actually, yeah, they took it off because it was too heavy, I'm pretty sure.
It was too much weight.
To make the Kessel run in less than 12 parsecs, right?
Which is not a time.
Yeah,
parsecs is a distance.
Yeah, I know. But
awesome.
I was telling him about it, and I was like, in the Solo movie, we get to see the Kessel run, and I'm like, it was over 13. And Han Solo's like, not if you round down, buddy. And I'm like, he rounded down even more in A New Hope, saying it was less than 12. Because he said less than 12. We know for a fact it was at least 13. It's funny.
What happens when they throw $17,000 or whatever.
Which partially like, because a lot of people have always like said it as time and it's a distance. A lot of people are starting to think that they actually were correct when they said it. He met 12 parsecs as in the distance he closed the gap. So like in the hyperspace lane that you're supposed to go to, it would take you all the way out and around, but he didn't have the time. So he jumped through hyperspace lane space. So like technically like they could have meant that the distance that he traveled was the shortest distance ever traveled through the Kessel Run.
They didn't know Pythagorean theorem is what you're saying. Yeah.
No, not the same thing. But,
They went like this instead of this.
But so like technically he could have met, and basically when he makes that joke, he's saying that he even did it in a shorter amount of time. It's kind of like how we like exaggerate, like, you know.
I caught a
of
fish that
things.
was this big, but it was actually this big.
Yeah, it's where you take some guy holds the fish here, and then you take the picture of me in the background like this, holding a fish.
Okay. So then he shoots that guy.
Greedo.
Yeah, and then the hardest part to watch animation-wise is when he goes and talks to Jabba.
You're a wonderful human being. But yeah, it was a little goofy when he stepped over top of Jabba on like his tail, and then like
I don't remember that scene.
Yeah,
It's like,
I'm gonna have to watch it.
he's like at his
Man.
ship waiting on him, and he's like, "Oh, I'll pay you 15% more."
I know the scene you're talking about.
Right.
I don't remember him stepping over his
Yeah,
tail.
he
and it
literally
looking funny.
steps on
There's
his
a lot of
tail.
funny things I just
he
choose to
steps
ignore.
up and like literally you see him just slide a little bit, and then he just drops down. Like,
I mean, he's probably gooey. I imagine Jabba being slimy.
Have you seen his nose?
I mean, yeah.
Looks like a bulldog.
Yeah, sounds about right to me.
sounds like a bulldog too.
Han, my Buki. Isn't that what he says? I think that's what he says. When he says Han, my boy, I think it's Han, my Buki.
You're saying a
I
bunch
don't
of
know.
stuff I don't fucking know.
That was funny.
So yeah, I don't know what scene that is, but like I don't know. So what were you saying about the Hutts and their language?
It's interesting how they like sometimes say English words, and then like basic. They'll sometimes say basic, but then sometimes not. Like it's really weird how they add basic into their language.
I
Or is
think
that just me, or is that just because like the viewers are watching it? They
Yeah.
try to get something in English so
I
we
think
know
it's
what's
part
happening.
of it. Like I think it's probably a translation thing. Han Solo probably doesn't translate to Huttonese.
Well, you also have to
Maybe.
think this is the very first movie that they're coming out with back in the 70s.
Well,
so
they
it's
do
like-
it. They do it later on too.
Well, I'm just saying, you know it at that point.
Yeah,
to
I
where
guess.
in the 70s, people would be like, I don't know what he's saying.
Like we don't know
Did
how
they
to put
have-
we don't know how to put
I was
subtitles
gonna
on a
say,
movie.
was there fucking captions? That's a great question.
It'd be crazy if there. I'm pretty sure there could be when you have the entire fucking intro with the paragraphs.
I'm not saying that they couldn't do it. I said if they did.
Oh well.
What's the first movie to have captions? I'm gonna look that up while you guys keep talking.
Okay, so we get the line from the movie or from Family Guy that I thought was funny that I said like 10 minutes before it happened. Stop that shit! Blast them. It's not like anybody's trying to say stop that ship and blast them. It's funny, but
Yeah, so then they get away.
I get away.
Did they go to... That's when they go to...
They try to go to Alderaan.
Alderaan, yeah. I was going to say Andor. What the fuck is that?
The first on-screen.
So one guy's
subtitles
last
were
name.
1947, but they weren't like people.
Yeah, it's where they
talking.
like... Yeah, it's where they would like show a part of the film and then it would go black screen with like the Star Wars title screen.
Yeah, I mean that's exact. It was like between picture frames.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no way there was not subtitles. I feel like that'd have been stupid.
We went to space, dude. We have subtitles. It's fine. Definitely. If we
Yeah, we
went
built
to
a
if we
fucking-
went to space before we got subtitles, that is absolutely nuts.
I mean, we didn't have a plane for all of our existence until the early 1900s. 19 what? When was the first flight?
oh 8.
19.
I'm just kidding. I have no,
No.
idea.
19.
I have no idea.
Was the first flight.
1903. Yeah, but that was like fucking wood too, though.
Right, and now
It-
we have jets that go like Mach 5.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. In from when that happened to 40 years later, we sent something to space.
It was 60 years later from the first flight.
I'm talking about like flying aircraft that can like fly on its own, not like wind.
Oh yeah.
I don't know
Well,
when. I don't know.
That's allegedly that we went to space. You really want to
We
get into
sent
that?
a rocket into the air straight up. Well, somehow.
We at least built a rocket that went into outer space
Dude, that's
for
the thing.
sure.
This is going to become this for a second.
Tinfoil hat.
My whole thing with going to space, right? They had to have faked millions of documents of just how we could get to space. Like, just the math and the science alone, we faked millions of pages of work just for fun to say, hey, we got there. Way too much work.
I mean, people.
We can't even do real CGI rendering in 2024, but you think we did millions of pages of work to not send someone to space?
I mean, yeah. I mean,
I thought you meant, yeah, we didn't. So it's like,
I mean,
Yeah, the Earth is
I
flat.
feel like it would have been harder to fake it.
I don't think it would have been.
It's at least the same amount of hard.
Yeah, I don't
You
think.
know?
I,
Like, you have to fucking. There's so many people you have to.
well, I
make
don't
sure they
understand
don't
why.
speak
Like you
on
said,
it.
so you have all the paperwork. You have people that can't talk about it, like you're saying, and then like we did send a rocket that definitely shot up. So why wouldn't we just
Well,
put somebody
there were
on there?
rockets in World War II. Like, we knew rocketry. Like, Hitler's weapons were rockets. Like,
No, we're talking about like
I'm
can
just
enter
saying.
space. I know what you mean now. Like Sputnik
Right.
was early on.
Right.
Like we were sending satellites and shit up there.
Right.
But it's still like insane.
Well, yeah, I think so.
Do you think we can't penetrate our atmosphere? There's people who believe that. There's people that believe we not the atmosphere, but like
You mean that
there's
we're
like
in a
globe.
dome?
We're in a dome. Like once you get to a certain point, like it just ends. Like it's.
I don't think there's a dome. No.
I mean, some people think the sun. You know, someone puts it up in the sky every morning.
They do that on Coruscant.
What?
Someone
It's
puts
Star
the
Wars.
sun up in the sky.
The weather is fucking like,
They've controlled weather.
yeah.
We control our weather too.
Also true.
Okay.
Like, they've like
Okay, back to Star Wars.
They've like confirmed that
Yeah.
they control the weather.
Okay, back
Yeah.
to Star Wars. Where are we at? They're heading to Alderaan. And then Luke's...
No, they're not.
But what does the government know?
Alderaan doesn't exist.
Well, they're heading to Alderaan. And
I think they're heading to Alderaan.
Luke's doing his training and stuff like that.
That
What
was
is...
weird. That was weird.
Okay, well, elaborate.
I don't know. It was just like
You got a little droid that, like, shoots you with, like, little bolts of some kind of power.
I would like. Wouldn't you? I would rather have seen it like hand to hand combat.
I mean, that's another thing where you got
It
to...
wasn't lightsaber training.
What, it was just trying to trust the Force.
Yeah, it was force training more than anything. Like, he obviously wanted him to hold a lightsaber and get used to it, but like, he's training in the force.
You're gonna see.
testing.
You're gonna see. There's not very much lights. There's not lightsaber training at all. Actually, in the original trilogy, it's all force training. His lightsaber training is going and fighting Darth Vader. That's his lightsaber training. That's the best we get out of it.
Okay. Well, I haven't gotten to that part yet.
Well, yeah, but
So thanks for reading that. That's great.
oh, okay. Like you haven't seen the Family Guy episodes that tell you basically everything. But
Yeah, where Stewie goes, let's play baseball. Yeah. What the hell, man? I could.
it's in one of these 26 cases.
Guys, I wasn't ready yet.
But
No, twisted.
Hey.
Twisted. No.
I mean, you're definitely going to see a complete flip of the script for how the training is. It's like prequels. You have the height of the Jedi. They have every tool at their disposal. You got thousands of Jedis running around. Like, there's nobody right now. There's nothing. They have the lightsabers that they have, and then I can't even believe they had one of those things that was shooting little blaster bolts at them.
Where'd they get that?
I have no clue.
Obi-Wan
Maybe
bring
Obi-Wan
it
just
with
had
him?
it. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. Had his lunch and then this like nice little.
because he when he was in the temple during Order 66, he thought it was a good idea to grab one and bring it with him. Like
You probably buy them. I don't think he brought it with him then.
I
Jordan.
wonder if it's not even like a training thing for them. I wonder if it's like almost like a security like droid where it's like you break into somebody's house and this thing just follows you and shoots you with little fucking electric bolts. That'd be crazy.
I don't think it was that.
I mean, I don't know what it is.
Home
specifically.
security device.
That'd be funny. You walk into somebody's house and they start shooting you. Like, which hole's it coming out of? You don't know. You don't have the force.
All right, where are we at?
Han Solo talking shit about the Force and how it's not real. You made a comment when we were watching that last night.
That's not how the Force works.
Well, my question, which I mean, we kind of answered it in probably the first episode. It was just like, so how does Hans because everyone has the Force and like some sort like the Metachlorian is
A part of life.
Yeah, inside of everyone. So is Han Solo just not practicing it, or does he not have it, or it's just not high enough, or
Yeah, it's kind of like he doesn't have a high enough metachlorian count to use the Force through his own being. The Force just flows through him.
We talked about it a little bit last night. I kind of explained it in a more realistic way where it's like, all right, just go
Everybody is Force sensitive. It's how Force sensitive you are.
how Force sensitive and all, like you can train to get better at specific things. Like you train in real life to get better at a sport or better at being faster or whatever the hell you're training for. It's kind of in the similar aspect where the metachlorians are like your maxed out capability basically, and anybody can learn something. Like bounty hunters have, like everybody has metachlorian count. Bounty hunters are good at what they do probably because of their metachlorian counts are probably a little bit better than normal people's, which is why people might have they pull a gun out of their holster and it's faster than somebody else. Like, but they might just be able to be more agile or think faster or something like completely like different. Like
They talk about some bounty hunters actually being like highly Force sensitive, and then the one bounty hunter was a part of the academy.
Yeah.
And she was just like, bump this, I want to steal stuff.
so like what is like the point of Han Solo being a character? Like like if you were to watch this back in the 70s with not having his show, what would you think that like why is Han Solo even here in this big part of the story? Like
they needed a pilot.
Yeah, they needed a pilot and he happened to be there. Like, what do you mean?
like Luke has a
He also-
reason he's there.
he also-
Leia has a reason. Like,
He also helped with the Death Star destruction, so
Yeah, but he means like
well, that's so lucky that he just happened to be that pilot. It wasn't like I'm just saying.
Well, that's
like,
part of
why
the thing,
was George
too.
Lucas like, I'm gonna have this random fucking guy be Han Solo, and
it was Harrison Ford.
No, he doesn't. He just means it in general.
I
Like,
know.
so that's the thing is like most people can fly. So it just happened to be like that's the guy they ran into. Like you're asking like why is he a main character?
sort of, yeah. Well, and I guess I don't know if I'm gonna watch his TV show, but like, is there some back?
It's just a movie.
Oh, it's a movie.
Yeah.
I was like, what? He's just a smuggler. So, but like, I think George wanted there to be a love interest in the movie, and I think he had the idea that the Jedi are kind of like these monks in a way that like they're not supposed to be married. So he needed someone to come in who is like a problem, and how like that person's going to like overcome him being a bad person, and then he ends up with like the super goody two shoes best person.
Okay.
So it's kind of like that opposites attract things where like the best girl likes the asshole guy. He's a scruffy comic relief.
Okay. Understood, I guess.
All right, so we get to Alderaan.
we?
there is no Alderaan because it blew up.
Let's go check out that moon.
Yeah, let's go check out this moon with this.
That's not the moon.
So what? Then they park there, and then they kill the fucking stormtroopers and the.
Well, they didn't park there. They got the tractor beam and pulled them in, so they were stuck.
Oh, okay.
That was the whole point
paid
of
for a parking
that was the
pass.
whole point. That was the whole. Listen, bud.
He put his little
I
handicap
know
sticker
why.
up.
I'm just saying that they ended up parking there. So yes, they were caught. I get it.
He stuck his
But-
handicap sticker in the
That was the whole point
for
of
the
what
rear view.
Obi-Wan went and did on the Death Star was to deactivate
What is
the tractor beam.
what is it, Family Guy? What does Peter say when he puts up his handicap sticker? He makes a joke about what he has.
In the Star Wars episode.
Yeah. Because, like, they make a joke. He's like, you can't park here. You're not handicapped. And he sticks the sticker up in the rear view mirror of a spaceship that leads to a tunnel.
I don't remember says.
I don't
I
remember.
haven't seen those episodes in a really
I don't
long
know.
time. Okay.
I think he says he has like acute asthma or something.
So yeah, they basically kill the stormtroopers. They get their outfits and stuff to where they can walk around and not get caught. And then Obi-Wan's like, I'm gonna go deactivate the tractor beam, and Luke thinks it's a great idea to go find Leia, so they go find Leia. That's where we're at.
She dogs them from the beginning. Aren't you a little short for a
Aren't you a little
stormtrooper?
fat to be a stormtrooper? Quote from Family Guy.
You sound like Sketch. A quote from Family Guy.
But yeah, it's funny. Mark Hamill is really short.
Yeah. Especially compared to fucking Harrison. But
Hayden
yeah.
Christensen's not short though. That was interesting.
What?
It's interesting that Hayden Christensen's not short, isn't he? He's like 6 foot or 6'1" or something. Mark Hamill's like 5'5".
He's not his real dad.
Well, I mean,
They didn't just park their Jordan. It was a tractor beam. Stupid.
He paid by the meter. Trash compactor scene.
what a wonderful smell you've found.
That's no. Before that, he's like, everything's fine. How are you? He's talking back to the command. I'm like, yo, who the fuck thought of that?
He probably did on the spot. There's no
Probably.
that was an actual line.
Oh, you should hear some of the lines that they were supposed to have in the movie. There's a lot, I'll show you later when we get off, but there's this line that Mark Hamill was like, who the hell talks like that, George?
There's like a meme going around where he's like, I'm just gonna tell her I love her, and he's like,
Tell you like
that's the worst fucking thing I've ever heard. Tell her I know. You haven't got to that yet, but
Okay. I like sand.
I wore that yesterday. Sand, I mean.
You wore sand.
Yeah, he visited Tatooine yesterday.
So yeah. So trash compactor. How'd you feel about that little monster in there?
It was weird.
When it stuck its eyeball on his face, it was like,
Also, by the way, they're standing up in that trash compactor. How did it become 5,000 feet deep? Where did he go?
I don't know.
it was like this deep.
He's just
And
deep. He's
Luke-
just gone.
and Luke's body's just gone.
I knew he was short, but damn. Took him to the deep end.
Maybe. I don't know. It was.
You gotta twist it.
It was real. It was like a really weird scene, in my opinion. Like I don't understand. Like I could have went without it. It really didn't. Do
They had to
anything.
escape.
Comedy, dude. Comedy.
I guess
They had to
That's
escape
what was
somehow.
Funny back in the '70s, I was like, this is just wasting kind of 10 minutes of the movie, but okay.
Well, it's kind of just.
I hate you.
It's kind of just their first impressions they're getting of each other. It's like, damn, this princess is stupid. I'm smarter than her. And then she's like, well, fuck you, this and that. I got us out of there. You know what I mean? It's kind of just getting us the first impressions of everybody real quick.
I guess, yeah. I didn't think of it like that.
Well, there you go. Can't park there.
All right, so then everyone deactivates it, and then he faces Vader.
I liked the little spin he did. That was pretty funny.
No, dude, I think the worst part of that fight is when they like hit lightsabers and he does that little like whirl thing to whip it up. I'm like, that looked terrible. Like it was such like a fencing move. Like you could tell whoever was on set was like, they got a fence. Fucking glass lightsabers suck.
Yeah.
They were using basically like LED fucking like
Well, it's-
lamps, dude.
I mean, that's what I was trying to tell them. Them lightsabers like didn't touch.
Dude, they busted those so many
yeah,
times.
and they legitimately like during the movie, like what we get to see them lightsabers like don't touch each other.
Yeah.
So
We
the
also-
lightsaber fighting was obviously better in this movie than in episode 3, right?
The clip we saw of a fan made.
That fan made is insane.
I showed him the fan made. and I
Yeah, if
was
you guys
like,
ever seen that, go look at the fan
It
made
has,
like
50
Obi-Wan
million
versus Vader.
views
Does
on
it really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of
Holy
ridiculous.
shit. It's like what the fight should have been.
The fight if it was made now.
Yeah.
I think that fight was still
No.
pretty good. That they made it look like relatively old too, but also like obviously it was cooler looking.
relatively old.
Yeah, they
Oh,
kind
you're talking
they
about
kept
the
it.
fan edit. I was like, what are
Yeah,
you
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about?
I was like, yeah, Obi-Wan's like 90 years old.
Alec Guinness of beer. Yeah, so, you know.
If you strike me down, I'll become more powerful than you can possibly imagine. You were a little confused when he said that line.
The apprentice, now the master.
I kind of figured I knew what was gonna happen because I remember in the third movie that like Yoda tells Obi-Wan that he would be hearing from Qui-Gon, so I was like, I feel like he's just gonna go to Luke and he'll be able to talk to him. So I was just more confused. I was like, oh, that's just how Obi-Wan dies. Like it's cool because it was from Vader and whatever, but like it was probably just because it was the 70s and they couldn't really fight. Like if it was the fan made, I was like, okay, that's how you die. But like,
I mean, also think about it in the way like he does become more powerful. Like he's kind of just in the way as an old man with how he is right now. If he dies, he's a hell of a lot more like resourceful to Luke.
how did he know that Luke would be able to hear him?
Because he controls that.
Obi-Wan controls that?
Yeah.
Or Luke controls it.
No, Obi-Wan controls that.
How though? Wouldn't Luke?
That's
have
something
to be,
you have to learn later on, buddy. It's more Star Wars content you're gonna have to learn.
I'm not here to be left with more questions, Jordan.
Well,
I'm
you
here to
kinda-
be
Well,
left
good
with
luck. That's what we are.
I mean, yeah, we're
We're left with questions all the time.
We're out
Ahsoka.
Yeah, we're at that with the Ahsoka series on the Mandalorian and stuff like that. We're left with huge question marks. So I mean,
Sounds like you guys are jealous of me waiting because I am so far behind now that by the time I catch up,
we're still gonna have
It'll be
questions.
2036 when it's done.
Yeah, we're gonna still have questions. We're gonna be like, what happens now?
space it out.
Yeah.
All right, so he watches him die, and he's like, no!
Run, Luke, run.
They get on the
He
ship.
gets to talk to him immediately afterwards. So
Yeah.
They get out. Dude, this is one thing I wanted to talk about. So they're like leaving, right? And they go up into the Falcon's gunships, right?
Mhm.
Dude, those fucking guns suck. Like,
I
dude,
think
they're
they're-
sitting them and they're like,
Yeah, I was like, I would be like, I don't know what the fuck I'm shooting at.
I think they're cool.
fucking terrible,
I think
dude.
they're cool.
Like,
They're cool
why does
concept.
this seat move? Like,
I think it's awesome.
like you could just spin the gun. Like the seat did not need. Like I understand it's like a little bit more movement, but
I think it's awesome. I would love to try it.
they're always like, they're like always moving too much.
I think it'd be cool to try it though. I would have a blast on one of those things.
I don't remember what happens after that. I mean, they kill him, they win, right? And then what do?
They go back to the rebel base that they know is booby trapped to find their location. Because Leia's like, there's no way there's not a homing beacon on here. So they allow them to lead the Empire there because they're hoping they can do what they're going to do with the Death Star plans. Because, I mean, if it's not successful in general anyways, like, they're going to be dead anyways. Like,
No.
relatively soon. Well, they don't know this, but, like, with Vader finally, I guess it's a little bit later on. Vader,
In the movie or
yeah,
in the Star
in the
Wars?
movie.
Oh.
But yeah, so they basically go back to base, and then they are having their plan to blow up the Death Star with their 2 meter with their 2 meter target that they have.
I've shot Womp Rat smaller than that back on Tatooine. He's just talking shit to all these like professional pilots. It's like you guys all suck.
It's like, I do this for fun.
I thought that like when they were trying to go in for the shot, I feel like it was too long of a scene. Like it
When he's
seemed-
flying down the tunnel.
Yeah, when everyone is flying down the tunnel, it's like I don't know. It just seemed.
I mean,
like,
the point is that they just keep dying. Like, it's not easy to get
Not
there.
even just that, it's also explaining how big the Death Star is. And how dumb ridiculous the Force is that he knows where this little like hole is.
I guess. I mean, I get it. Like I do, but it was just like like he was like, "Oh, I'm really close," and then you look at his little tracker thing. He's like 24,780. I was like,
They're also
he's
going-
not fucking close at all.
They're also going fast as fuck.
But that also just goes back to the point. Yeah, they're going fast as fuck, and that's how big the fucking Death Star is. That this is just like a fraction
Red
of the
leader,
Death
red
Star.
leader.
But yeah, I mean, I don't really think it's dragged out. There's action happening when it's
Well,
going
also,
on.
why didn't they try and like there's 3 people, right? Like usually at one time, and then Vader was just coming up behind them and picking them off. So it's like, why weren't they trying to pick off Vader from behind him? Like,
Because they were trying. Well, they were trying. Yeah, they were out. They weren't gonna beat him. So they're like, if they go and risk other fighters, they don't get the second run. They don't get the third run.
oh, so
They're
they're
kinda
just
just-
flying around the.
They're
Death
kind
Star.
of just preserving the troops that they have, because if they don't, they're just gonna die.
Yeah. How'd you feel about Han
'Cause there has
Solo?
to be 3 more movies that come out. I wouldn't
They didn't know that. How do you feel about Han Solo coming in to save the day?
Kind of corny, but
Woohoo! I feel like you just hate Han Solo.
I mean, it's like
Hey,
it was.
kid.
It was nice to see him like,
Not be a dick.
yeah, like change his ways.
He got
I'm
more
gonna get
money.
an extra for this, right?
It definitely was an opening up to his character a little bit.
I know a lot of people hate how like he hits Vader and Vader goes like flying into space and they're like, yeah, this
He
guy.
didn't hit him. One of the other TIE fighters did.
Yeah, I know, but like
The X-wings.
No,
The
one of
TIE
the
fighters?
TIE
the
fighters.
one TIE fighter ran into Vader and shot him
Oh,
in space.
okay.
But no, but like I know I've seen something like not that long ago where people were bitching. I was like, yeah, of course, like this guy who's this badass guy who's gonna be like this. He's like he happens to be just be knocked into space when the spaceship explodes.
There has to be a second movie.
Right. Big ass cliffhanger.
It is a big ass cliffhanger because realistically, at the end of this movie, this could have been a one-off movie. I
I
mean,
mean, it was built like that.
yeah, I mean they basically won. I mean, Darth Vader's still alive, but like
The
At-
Death Star is gone.
the Death Star's gone, so it's like okay, like they did what they were supposed to do.
So okay, can I ask how does that lead into the 5th movie? With
How
him
does it lead
fucking
in-
floating off into space, or is it a completely different like start to the movie of like how does the 5th movie start? Is it going into something with Vader, or is it
No,
Not at all.
the Empire's not gone because the Death Star is gone. The Empire.
well, right? I'm just saying like
He just got picked up by a ship. That's probably what happened. I mean, he can still fly. That thing can jump to hyperspace.
okay.
I think.
How does
I don't know. They talk about earlier in the movie it wouldn't have been able to make it that far out into space without the Death Star being there. So maybe not.
What, his ship?
The TIE fighter that they followed to the Death Star.
Yeah, they did say that.
Vader's
Yes.
probably is different.
I mean, maybe.
His is a TIE
But also,
Interceptor
you get to see in the Clone Wars when they have their own personal ships, they like latch on to something that can jump into hyperspace. So maybe not. Maybe somebody just had to come get
There's
him.
probably someone in the area.
I mean, also they went to a different system than where they were in the beginning of the movie. So maybe he just went to another planet.
That's what I'm saying.
But yeah, just because the Death Star blew up doesn't mean like a lot of people died, obviously, but like they're still the Empire. The Empire is fucking huge,
Fast.
and like people are joining that shit every fucking day. It's like the military and shit. That people are just joining because that's what's supposed to happen.
We've gotten to the point. What do you rank the movie? I forgot what you gave the other ones.
The 3rd one was my highest. I know that.
You gave it a 9 or
7.
something, a
No,
9.7.
It was like a 9.3, I think.
The 3rd one?
You might have gave it a 9.5.
I don't remember.
It was definitely in the
The
nines.
second one I think was my least favorite one.
It was a
It-
7.7, I think, because it
Yeah.
was 1977.
It was a 7.7, I think an 8.3,
8.3,
and a 9.5.
Maybe.
I would say
Is it better than the first one?
with Liam.
with Qui-Gon.
With
with
Qui-Gon.
No, I don't think so. I think it's like a low 8. I liked it, but it's like
It's like an 8.1.
8.3.
So
Okay.
it's the same as that movie.
Was I?
That
It was an
8.3.
8.3.
I mean, I did like it.
I mean, I also
was a-
think you're subject to change your opinions too as you learn more. As you learn more Star Wars content, you're gonna like different things
Well, it
because of
was-
other stuff.
It was also different because the first, like, watching the first one was like, there's a lot more, you know, there's
shit happens.
right, a lot of shit happens, and now I know what happened in the prequel, so it's like, it wasn't so new to me where I was like, oh my god, this is like I understood some more parts than when I watched the first movie. I was like, I have no idea what I'm watching.
Right.
Obviously, like, the combat and the visuals were a little bad, but I mean, I think you said this. You were like, the story in it is way better than
The story and the progression of the story and it
Yeah,
building up to get to the point
it
is definitely
flowed-
better.
It flowed really well, I think. I mean, there was just some weird parts, but I don't know if I would consider that bad on the movie. I would just say it was bad on the times.
It definitely was something that was made
Yeah.
way before it should have been, to where it's like, okay, but then also, like you even said, like even for 1977, it's 2024 and it doesn't look horrendous. Like I've seen worse. I've seen things age a lot worse, which is crazy to think about. Like, because when you look at the prequels, you see the third movie. Like I think that shit's flawless the way it looks.
Yeah, and I think the point of it, like, it starts a whole universe, and like what he said with, like, it starts so many different shows that we would never have had without this certain movie being made. Like, the impact of it is fucking huge. So I don't know if I would rate that higher for that case, but like,
I mean, it's
do
just
understand the magnificence.
so we're ranking the so with
whatever the fuck the word is.
Magnitude
Yeah, there you go.
so I mean
and magnificence.
these rankings are the rankings for your personal, like, I like this movie, not these rankings are like, I like this movie, not critically acclaimed. This movie's better, because it probably is better, critically acclaimed. But in your personal opinion, where would you rank it, or what would
That is
you
my
rank it?
personal opinion.
Oh, so you have it at 8.3 still?
Yeah.
So you have it on par with the Phantom Menace,
Yeah.
or do you change your Phantom Menace rankings?
We'll do that later.
I mean, we could do that.
They're
later.
both 8.3s.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
He actually definitely put it higher than I thought he was going to put it, but
Well, I was expecting also a lot worse. When
Yeah.
You were like, it's going to be a big step back. It's going to be a big step
I mean,
back. I was
it
like,
is-
holy fuck. I'm not even
James
gonna be able to
Harden
watch
step
this.
back.
I mean, it is a big step back, but
Fucking double dribble step back. Okay, go ahead.
We're saying weird shit. We gotta get out of here.
You were in the middle of the
Just you were
sentence.
saying something. Are we done?
I mean, yeah, I mean, it is a big step back, but for it being 1977, the first Star Wars movie, like almost one of a kind thing at this point in time, like, it's pretty cool. That's why we have what we have today. So, you guys got anything else?
Nope.
Nope.
All right. This has been My Trick Media. Thanks, guys.